Okay, so I knew you guys would ask for it, so here is my version of how I would reintroduce Daredevil into the MCU, or just bring Daredevil into the MCU. So let's get to that. So there's multiple ways to really look at Daredevil and his future in live action. And I think the most basic thing we need to establish here is that these shows were not made by Kevin Feige. Daredevil, he had no hand in casting or any of that, any of the production, so it wasn't an official Marvel Studios production. Now let's just say for the sake of success and for the sake of fan demand that they decide that this doesn't matter, and like Deadpool, they're going to work with everybody involved to make sure that the same cast can be brought back. How do they do this? That's what I'm going to focus in this video. I'm not going to talk about a clean-cut reboot or anything, because that's not how to bring Daredevil into the MCU, that's how to reboot Daredevil. So first and foremost, there would be a season 4 route, which everybody seems to be saying, well, they should just make a 4th season. Except they can't, because that character's licensed seasons were over at Netflix. So if they were to make a 4th season with this entire cast, it wouldn't actually be a 4th season, it would be something else, sort of a rebranding, if you will. Something like maybe Daredevil, Man Without Fear as a subtitle could be a way to bring him back, unless Disney and Marvel Studios wanted to go to Netflix and straight up buy out everything that Netflix owns that is contractually theirs, which is why Netflix is going to remain the house of the first 3 seasons. They could feasibly do that, pay a huge amount of money, put it on their own station, like maybe FX or Hulu, for example, and then continue with a 4th season. But again, that's a lot of money to spend. Either way, though, we're still playing with the idea that they're bringing back the entire cast. So how do you do this? Well, in my opinion, you would have to do this very strategically, and you have to play it up as if nobody knows who exactly Daredevil is. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, and I know this is something that always pisses people off, but these are the true numbers. This is how it happened. It is estimated that only about 6 to 8% of the people that saw a film like Ant-Man, which is the lowest amount of views for any MCU films when it comes to theaters in the last decade, really, have seen Daredevil, meaning that Ant-Man has a larger cult following and a larger audience and more views than Daredevil throughout all the seasons. TV is completely different, so you have to take the character and you have to reintroduce him and introduce him in many instances to a brand new audience that never saw the character on Netflix, because again, that was a fraction of the audience for what the movies get. So in my opinion, how you handle this is you take each character and you see if you can work them into something else. For example, Claire, we know she's in the middle of New York. She's been tied up with all the Netflix shows. What if she appears somewhere along the lines of Hawkeye, for example, and ends up patching up Clint, and then he is made aware of some of these other heroes that exist in New York? What if at some point She-Hulk has to fight a case and she knows that the person is innocent, but she can't prove it, and she hears about these two guys who are having a very successful time proving that innocent people are in fact innocent when it looks like everything has been made to look like they're guilty. So she goes and gets, oh, look, it's Nelson and Murdoch, and Paige, I guess. So you reintroduce them as these lawyers, and you drop a few hints in there of who Matt Murdock is, but maybe you say that for now he's sort of retired, if you will, and you kind of explain that during that 5-year time gap that crime really did not go the way it did. His life changed, everybody's life changed, and he just sort of lay dormant. But now that things are, well, falling apart again, maybe he's going to have to come out of the shadows, and maybe that's how you establish it. You see the interest in the character, and then you bring him back. There's always the possibility of having Daredevil maybe appear alongside Moon Knight. I mean, for all we know, Moon Knight could come to New York, and suddenly he's got to fight remnants of the Hand, and Daredevil shows up and goes, yeah, these guys again, all right, let's do this again. Let's just get to it. Or of course you could do what everybody says and just make him Spidey's lawyer in Spider-Man 3. No. I'm not even going to talk about that one because I just think that one's the dumbest and the laziest way to handle it. No. No. Daredevil should be more proper as part of the MCU than just a quick lawyer cameo in a film that's going to be stuffed with everything else.